Hi again, everybody. Welcome to another little demo. The subject for this one is one I've taken from a list of very good and very useful suggestions for topics that people have emailed or left comments or whatever, and it's how I tackle dry stone walls. Let's move my title screen away, otherwise known as one of my postcards. Look, and this one, I'm going to confess, here's where I got to yesterday. I filmed this once. I filmed this demonstration once, starting with a line drawing, adding some loose colour, and then when I came to progress the video to upload to YouTube, I realised that I'd filmed it in slow motion, so that the video was not only 5, 6, 7 times as long, it was nearly an hour long, it was mega slow and painful to watch, but more importantly, the file size was absolutely enormous. So that's where I'd got to. I'm going to redo it now. I'm going to do it by, I'm going to draw on this half of the sketchbook. I'm going to try and recreate that. I'm not working from a reference photograph. I'm just going to make it up. Dry stone walls and walling on buildings in particular are one of my big things that I love to wear. So what I'm going to do, I'm making up this wall completely from memory. We'll stop saying every other word. And I think I've drawn enough dry stone walls either in situ or from reference photographs to know roughly how they should appear. This one, as you probably gather, I'm drawing it rather quickly. I want to get the line work done, and then I can show you how I treat the colouring of stonework. And in a lot of my drawings that feature buildings in a landscape or built structures like walls and things, I tend to leave the man-made structures just as line drawings, a nice contrast, and saving the colour for the landscape. But on the odd occasion, in fact on lots of occasions, for commissions especially of a nice building, I more often than not feel that I've got to put some colour on, especially when the colour has got lots of character. So look, there's almost in one, well, not in one line, because I did lift the pen off. This pen is a new one to me. It's a Winsor & Newton fine liner 0.1. It's all right. You know, it's great. I got a couple of these in a, no, it was a pack. So I'm going to use these and see how well they hold up to washes. Right, so there's a made up section of dry stone wall. And I'm going to put that down, and what I'm going to do is just slosh some paint on. I realise that I can't exactly replicate the drawing I did. Oh look, there's a bit of ink bleeding there. Didn't realise that. I realise I can't exactly replicate the drawing I did yesterday, but actually it'll be a useful exercise to see the differences in the two. So when I've got this really wet wash on, what I tend to do is to drop, let's get some, the colours I'm using, look, it's not a posh palette, it's a little Sketchers box. This is yellow ochre, which is my kind of go-to base wash for limestone walls, etc, etc. And at this stage, look, when it's really wet, you're not going to get much. And I'm just dropping, I don't know if you can see, look, I'm just taking raw pigment, neat pigment, and just dropping that in. And this area there, where I've just put some paint with no ink lines on, what I'm going to try and do is just, it'll be interesting to see what the difference is between doing the ink drawing first, and then adding ink over the top. So I'm kind of trying to create some shapes here with different colours. So there we are, look, that's enough, and that actually needs to dry. So let me suck some of this. It's really quite wet, so if I take some of the excess moisture off with that brush, and then when I've got a brush handy, look, what I can do is just add some green underneath. This is just some green I've got mixed. It's kind of a combination of a bit of sap green, green gold, and my favourite green of all time, undersea green, just to get something in. Because even though this is kind of just a demonstration exercise, I still like to give it some context. And when that's dry there, I'll put some sky on, which is what I would do normally afterwards. So we'll leave that as it is, and quickly, in a flash look, here's one I prepared earlier. For those of you in the UK who are watching and used to watch Blue Peter, they always had one prepared. Well, I did, but only because of my inability to handle the tech. So that was yesterday. It's bone dry, look. So you can see it kind of works all right. But now what I'm going to do, this is kind of the fun bit. You can see some of the stones just look a bit flat. So let's put some more features on. Sorry, I don't mean features, I mean a bit more colour on. And this is a mix of Payne's grey, look. Let's give it a bit of, look, and while I'm over there, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. Sorry, while this is drying now, it's drying quite slowly because it's not that warm. Look, I'm going to do that. And it'd be interesting to come back to that and see how that settles, as opposed to the same consistency of paint there, look, and see how that works on there. Actually, what I've done is shot myself in the foot there. I really didn't mean to put any more wet paint on, because the next stage in there is to make these walls look a bit more. The lines are all right, but I like to strengthen, and I like to strengthen some lines to give the impression of shadow on there. So let's work from the top. Might be a shadow under there. I'll go around the outside. Pretend there's a shadow there. It's, in a way, it's much easier when you're working from a reference, whether or not you're in front of a wall. So you can actually see where the darks are, because you've got an actual light source, which I don't have in this imagined scene, look. So, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to pretend that the light source is coming from in front of the wall, but in that direction. So any shadows, like down here, this will be a dark shadow there. And I prefer to add them in pen, because they're a lot more controllable. I don't know if you noticed when I did the drawing before, I was holding the pen quite loosely and up there, but now for this detail work, I've tightened up the grip. You need a tighter line. Some there, we'll make that dark. Do all this. And then what I usually do with this, now I don't know if you can see, I don't know if the phone camera is good enough. The line, I'll draw a line over here, see if you can see it, look. This is the quality of the line straight onto the paper. If I don't alter anything other than what's under the pen nib, this is the quality of the line onto paper that's got watercolour added to it. Now I can tell immediately that the lines I'm drawing now, the ink is kind of spreading into the damp paper, and this was drawn yesterday afternoon. So you can see, look, to show I'm not kidding, there's another one, another nice fine line. Come over here, and immediately the line, because obviously I put so much moisture into the paper from the wet washes, that it's the pen lines are kind of bleeding a bit more. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'll just bring this along, look. Working through my imagination's great, because it means that nobody can actually come up to you afterwards and say, well, actually, you got the wrong number of coping stones, or you didn't quite get that right. Because nobody can tell, because this is my made-up wall. Sorry, and I've just spotted up here, look. One of the biggest things that people say when they come on a workshop and they try and do a dry stone wall, the biggest mistake most people make is to try and do dry stone walls like this. That little drawing reminded me, I did it in the slow motion video. And they'll do a dry stone wall like this, so it almost looks like bricks with courses of mortar in between, which of course they're not. Dry stone walls are literally drawn like this, built like this, and if you put little gaps in, you can make them into crevices, and you ram some ballast in, and it's useful. And the more you do that, the more believable the drawing will look. Yeah, I can't believe how that's much stronger going over pre-painted background than, you see, then go back over there, and it's immediate. It's like the line gets, this is a 0.1, the dampness underneath kind of makes it into a 0. I don't know, 1.5 or 2. So there we go, and that's one stage. And the only other stage I would do now, and I'll try and get this working. I've just picked up some Payne's Grey. I'm going to try, you see, that's a very flat looking stone. I'm not sure if it will work on this. Just try and put some, no, it won't work. It's not, it's very wet. I'm trying to get some dry brush like this, like that there. But if you can see, really nice dry brush. But again, I think everything's too, it's too cold. It's not drying enough, including the brush. And that's about it. I'd be happy with that. I'll use a finer brush. This is what size is this one? A size 6. And just pick up some odds and sods of colour. Like, I love the way this quinacridone gold just sits there, and if I can spot some stuff like this, I can then, you don't want to colour everything in. Just pick up random bits of colour and perhaps choose that one. Look, that'll be on there. And the whole idea is to get a bit of variation in. There's some really nice stuff happening in there. So where's my quinacridone gold gone again? let's have some, we'll have a nice one there. And if I can find, just tip it and see if there's anything up there. This is still damp, so look, I'm going to utilise that and put some, that'll blend in really nicely. And I think this is about it. I'm tempted to finish this off. You see, something's happening there. Look, I've picked up some Payne's grey and a bit of quinacridone gold, and I'm getting like a double colour on. So drop that in. Bit of yellow ochre to anchor it, because the colour over there needs to look similar to the colour over here, and we'll just put something on there, and we'll pick some of these greys up. I'm definitely in the fiddling mode, but I don't mind. It's we'll make that into a nice, some nice greenery there. So there you go. That's one way of doing dry stone walls with ink first, very wet watercolour wash as a base, drop colour in, and there's the new one I've done. So let's just see if I can. Yeah, that's lovely. That's just right at the point where things are tending to spread and blend beautifully. But all of that spattering I did with the Payne's grey and the blue, it's all blended in. So let's put on there, let's put some of this on and some on that one. So there you go, 2 for the price of 1. Yesterday's, that's more finished. I would probably wait until lots of these washes are dried completely and then go around. Bear in mind that the light's coming from that direction. And then the last thing is, if you really want to make it look kind of believable, I'm just trying to mix up now. There you go, Payne's grey and some violet for a shadow, and you can perhaps do something down the right hand edge. But again, this is not a technical drawing of a dry stone wall. It's just my method of adding colour to a line drawing. Oh look, we've had a bit of a cauliflower there. I might, if this wasn't just an exercise, what I might do there is to turn that into some foliage behind, like a tree or something. But I think I'll leave it as it is. So there you go, demonstration in 2 parts, but you've seen the whole process in that one there. So thanks again for looking, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to catch up. I will be doing these weekly from now on. So yeah, there you go, and thanks again for all your comments. It really does help. See you next time. Bye.